Hello everybody, this is a Lamley preview. It's taken me a little bit of time to get to this one, but it is time to do it. You're looking at, yes, a baggie full of cars, but a baggie full of 2024 basic Hot Wheels, including a slew of new models. If you remember, I've already posted previews I shot at the Hot Wheels convention with Jimmy Lou and Ron from the design team for Premium, Brendon for RLC, Phil for 143 and Elite. And I had every intention of sitting down with the basic team and going over all the basic new models, and we just flat ran out of time. JCCS was that same weekend, Hot Wheels Legends was that weekend, and it was just impossible. One of these days I will sit down with the basic team because there's a kind of a whole new crew there. Craig, Fraser's been there a while, but he's doing some new stuff. Andres, who's a great guy. I met a lot of the folks from the basic team, and we'll sit down, get him in front of the camera, and work through these models. But for now, they sent me all of these so I can show them to you. We're gonna look at them. I'm just gonna pull them out. In fact, let's just do this. Let's make this easy. This is how these come. When they get mailed to me, these pre-production models, and they come in sometimes in baggies. I actually put these in baggies. Sometimes they just come loose in a bag. You know, these are how the Mattel team looks at them. They like to beat them up, make sure everything is safe and secure. They work, they play. Their playability, if that's a word, is all there as they go through these. So they had these at the Hot Wheels convention that they showed off. And why I'm kind of talking through all this right now is I'm showing you the turntable shots of some of the models that weren't sent. And you're just going to see them as we go through here. I remember a tuned Skyline. Oh, there's a ton of stuff. I'll just put them through these. I shot all the turntable shots while I was in Los Angeles for the convention. We just never got together to do an actual video where they talked about it. But like I said, hey, do you mind sending these over and I can show them, talk about them a little bit, and then maybe we'll get together, you know, maybe after the first of the year, maybe I'll fly down to Mattel and we'll have a little discussion with the team. They're like, the basics team is awesome. As a matter of fact, as you look at these, you get a sense, like I'm putting together all the Lamley Award stuff right now. And, you know, there's so much good stuff coming out of Premium and RLC. Of course, there always is. I think a lot of times the collectors, at least that I kind of relate to, we tend to gravitate towards those premium models and those realistic models. Basic, though, has been putting out just such a cool, like, mix of really cool, like, vintage and current, like, realistic licensed cars. A bunch of cool creative stuff. And I'm not talking about, like, toaster cars. I'm talking about, like, you know, the Corvette, or I'm sorry, the Camaro that they did this year, and just like a Volvo drift wagon, you know, that kind of stuff. We're seeing a lot of creativity with licensed models as well coming out of basic that you just wouldn't see in premium. And as I'm rehashing 2023, I'm seeing a lot of the really good, exciting stuff from Hot Wheels came from basic. And I think that's going to be the same here as you're seeing these models go through on the turntable. I'm kind of rambling about right now because I want you to see all of these that weren't here, but then we're going to get to this baggie full of new cars, and let's just get to it right now. If there's more cars I need to show, I'll just show them at the end of the video, but we'll see where we're at. We'll just pick these up and we'll go, and we'll just and I'll put them on the turntable so you can see them. Let's start with this one. We'll just open them up, try and give us the white glove treatment here. This is one that we've already shown, but we got a little bit more information about it from Craig. This is the Mostash, right? That has the mustache comb that I think you can actually detach. If those know me, I know I have a mustache. I'm not going to comb my mustache and then send it back to those poor folks at Mattel, but all these are going back to Mattel, by the way. So this one has a removable comb. Craig, who I think is kind of running the basics team from a design perspective at this point, I think we've learned loves this kind of classic stuff, and I think we're going to learn a lot about him as his designs kind of emerge over the next year or two. And I definitely want to get him on camera. If you go back to the preview that they did at the convention, the presentation, Craig talks about some of these things. And so that's always worth watching. All right, that's the Mostash. A lot of these we did get early pre-productions of. Now we have the completed version. Here's a fantasy model. I'll try and work through some of those right now. But this is I'll show you the base of it. This is the DriftnBreak. Now this is based on, isn't there like, this is like the shooting brake version of a casting I can't remember. A drift casting, right? But this is a fantasy model. Kind of cool to see them taking some of the originals and then turning them into like modifying them. And this one obviously as a shooting brake version of a Hot Wheels original is kind of a cool idea. So there is that one. Again, some of these details I can speak to, some of them I can't. It's always great to have the team. We get such good insights, but hey, at least you can see the models. And let's see, where are we gonna go here? I think everything else is licensed. This one, I might put a list up. I might put a list of each model in the description so you can see who designed them, because they did send me a list. It's hard to remember offhand. Motorcycle, is this a classic like racing motorcycle? And I believe this is licensed, and I'll list it in the description. It doesn't say on the base, right? I think that's just the internal coding on it. But you can see they've been creative. They can actually create a brake in the boots here, and then create a race car driver. So there'll be this plastic portion that will kind of be some sort of color of the seat and the driver's uniform, and then the motorcycle is all metal. The rest of it's all metal, and I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not a big motorcycle fan, but because they're obviously out of scale with the rest of the Hot Wheels, but it is kind of cool. And speaking of, how about this one? If there was going to be a motorcycle, and this isn't, this is a scooter that I think I could get super excited about, it has to be the fact that Hot Wheels did a Vespa. Now, this is compared to, say, a Chevy truck, that's the biggest Vespa ever made, or the smallest Chevy truck. It's just what they have to work with, right? And so those who collect motorcycles, you can put all the motorcycles together and they would look realistic. But this is fairly big. But if you just look at it on its own, the Vespa, and I don't know if oh yeah, it's got a little kickstand so we can keep it standing on the turntable. Really cool design here with the spare tire, the very classic Vespa design. I think they have to get super creative in doing these motorcycles, and I think the execution from that standpoint. And look, man, while I may not be, I love Vespas, while I may not be as interested in something like this, I'm certainly stoked they did it. And if they're going to do motorcycles, do a Vespa and do it well. And I think all things considered, this is really, really well done. Like the creativity in making this work, that they can use the plastic of the seat and turn it into the spare tire as well. That's pretty cool. So that's the Vespa. We've got the motorcycles out of the way. And then I think we now can go to some existing castings. We'll go through some of those, and then we'll go through the rest of the new models. Honda CVCC, right? Is this, or is it it's the Civic Custom, right? Andres did the design, the graphics for this one. I think he might have done the graphics for the first edition in 2023, right? Which is there was an orange and a green version, right? This one gets a little bit more of a racing graphic, but very much a retro look, which looks cool. Honda logo on the side, small black rims. This thing looks really sharp. Modal on the hood, Bridgestone as well. I just think that this casting, this was, I think I have an idea what at least is going to be in the running for casting of the year, and that's sad. It's not sad, but this will be a casting that'll probably be a little bit overlooked just because of what it's going up against. But its size and everything else, I just think that Honda is such a winner in terms of new castings. But there were a ton of them this year. All right. I said we do, let's see, existing castings. Is that? I think this is the only other existing casting is this one. An old familiar, the old favorite, the old 510 wagon from Neon Speeders. I think we've seen the pictures. I don't know if the next mix of Neon Speeders has shown up anywhere in the world, but this will be in there. It is obviously the Datsun 510 wagon. Neon Speeder wheels. I want someone to tell me, what does this look like? The wheel design. I'm kind of curious what you think it looks like, because I think there's a story behind them. But I'll just leave it at that. You guys can tell me what you think that wheel looks like. It's a cool wheel. Obviously, the Neon Speeders design is cool. What it looks like when it's coming out, they're doing more just realistic castings. Like the Civic was obviously the first thing to go in the GTR. And I think we got some good ones coming. This is like in a camouflage design. I don't think I'm going to get too excited about the neon speeders myself, but I can see other people liking them. And as long as the casting choices are good, and I think they are for this next mix, and the Datsun 510 wagon being so popular, that makes a ton of sense. All right, I think it's all new castings now. And all licensed new cast. Nope, one more existing casting. Couldn't forget this one. This is the Legends exclusive for 2024. What was it this year? It's the Honda S2000. As if you don't know, what Mattel has been doing for these exclusives is they've been rehashing or redoing super treasure hunts, like super popular super treasure hunts. So we had, what are we? Datsun wagon, Gasser, Silverado, Skyline, R32 Skyline, and the S2000. Is that every one of them? And now this one seemed inevitable, is the cool combi. Surf Shop, I didn't bring it out, but the Surf Shop Super Treasure Hunt was in kind of a teal color with the wood paneling. Obviously the TH logo is not going to be on here, but this is a recolored Super Treasure Hunt. And with this fantastic chrome steelies and everything else, it looks really, really good. And it's clearly going to be a very, very popular model. I think that's plastic base. Yeah, it's plastic base. Can't feel it with the gloves. But this will be the Legends model, and undoubtedly a popular Legends model in 2024. New castings, now we're here. Some of you, when I did the last sneak peeks, I had a lot of pre-productions, as I said. Now we're getting some of the finished models. And this was one that there was a lot of questions about. In fact, I'll even kind of clear this out a little bit. Can you see it? It's hard to see from a side perspective, but this one, I'll show you the base. This is the 2023 Ram 1500. And it does sit a little higher in the front than it does in the back, and kind of like a rally style. Truck comes in, appears to be factory colors. It does have the Hot Wheels logo on the back. But this thing is super clean, especially when you look at how they did the details in the grille, the outline on the Ram logo. I mean, this thing's really, really nice. Some people will say, hey, I wish it did sit straight, like that it didn't have the higher stance in the front. But obviously that's the style for this one, and this is what Basic does. Like, I don't know, maybe they'll convert this to Premium, but this is Basic having a little more fun, customizing a little bit more than maybe they would in Premium. And for me, I think modern trucks, I don't want to have like my hot take here, but modern trucks are kind of boring and converted into, like in my view, into, you know, just small die casts. Sometimes they all look the same. This one is more interesting, to the point that, you know, I could see this one. Well, I collect the new models, but I just think it's a better one. I just think it's a more interesting model. I'll just put it that way. All right, let's keep going. We're obviously seeing a lot of EVs in the line because we're seeing a lot of EVs on the road, and I think Hot Wheels is, Matchbox too, are trying to figure out what's the best approach with the EVs. So we're seeing some sport cars being done. This one is so interesting. This is the, well, I'll show you the base. This is the Ford Supervan 4. If you remember the original Supervan, and I've said it a million times, and they did a replica of it in Hot Wheels Heritage, right? And they did a Real Riders version of the old transit van that was, that they put a GT40 engine in the back and raced it around the track. And it's still, I say it every time, go on YouTube, look it up, and there's an old video, British narrator talking about the Supervan, and it's just such a fun video to watch. It's got the cool like music from the era and everything else. This is the fourth Supervan. Matchbox did this either second or the third. This is the fourth, done in Ford deco. It is an EV. There's good videos on this one too. Super fast transit just zipping around the track. You can see they've really detailed the back here, which is kind of cool. It's plastic. The back is, the body's metal. It's got that interesting wind, the kind of like, almost like these buttresses, very similar to the Ford GT, which is kind of interesting. And I think Hot Wheels has replicated it well. So I think that's a cool casting, a cool replica. You know, still like the original more. All right, let's keep going. I don't think we've seen a pre-production of this one before until the convention, but along the lines of the Ram, except this is another EV, I think. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the, there it is, Silverado EV, RST. Looks a lot like the Avalanche, right? But it is an EV, so maybe it's kind of considered the sequel, in a sense, of the Chevy Avalanche. Same silhouette, but obviously now this one is an EV. Really beautifully executed model, right? I think sometimes the way I judge these models is, look, I don't have the same opinions that some like. I'm happy to see the car world move to EVs myself personally. I know others hate it. We all have our opinions. It's fine. And I don't. That's an argument I don't ever want to get into. But it's nice to see these brands replicating the EVs, some better than others. And I think if they're going to do these, like, just execute it well. And this one's very, very well executed. Whether you like the vehicle or not, just like the Ford Lightning, I think this is really, really well done. Nice and clean, lots of detail. Can't tell if it's got an interior or not. I assume it does, especially without a metal roof, but that is super dark, and I cannot tell if it does have an interior. Can we look into that? Yeah, it does. I don't know, here you can see. I can see it. I don't know. It's there. There is an interior there. I don't know why they blacked. I guess to make the roof black. All right. Where should we go? We'll stay in the GM family. Go from Chevrolet to Cadillac. Cadillac Hypercar. Show you the base. Cadillac Project GTP Hypercar. We saw a pre-production of this one. Now we see it in its final version in, I wouldn't call that a matte black, but I wouldn't call it gloss necessarily either. When you put it up close, it's got the new super, like kind of the new hypercar, supercar wheels on it in gold. It's got gold trim. The color, I think, really shows off the details on this casting. Same thing, really nicely done spoiler, center spoiler as well. It's just, I like this. I think when I showed this, I showed a picture of this, or I put it on the turntable, I can't remember. There were some negative opinions that they said it looks a little plain. I think if you look at the actual vehicle, there's pictures of it online, I think this is pretty well done. It's kind of long, but it's, I don't know, I like it. I like it. But I will also admit, I mean, I really like the way the spoiler's done. I'll also admit to, like, sometimes these kind of cars, if they don't, I just look at it and go, I think that looks cool on its own as a Hot Wheel because I haven't totally researched the real car. And I'll admit to that. You know, I look at it and go, okay, maybe it is, but that one I like it. All right. Where are we at? I'm kind of seeing, like, there's a lot that I'm really excited about. We're kind of getting to that point. Should we just, should we do this one? Yeah, let's do this one. So I was curious what people's thoughts were going to be on this one. Once we showed the pre-production, remember it was just a painted sample, it wasn't the finished version. Now we have the finished version of the Pontiac Aztek Custom. It's definitely custom. You don't, from a side view, you almost think you're looking at a Cosworth, right? It's got the Cosworth spoiler on it. And then it's from the front that you realize, oh yeah, I'm looking at what is widely considered the ugliest vehicle ever made, but treated with such love by the Hot Wheels design team. It is so awesome. And like I said, I've seen a lot of people at the convention talked about this one. A lot of you commented on this one. I hope the Hot Wheels team, I know they've loved it. It's now got the black interior, so it's really hard to see, but you can see the Easter eggs there in the back. And, like, I'll let people look it up. But kind of, if you know, you know. But there will be comments on it. You guys know what it is. If you look at it, it's hard to tell. But you see a pair of glasses and a hat, and I think those who know, a lot of you, I think most of you probably do. But not my place to state it. It's just my place to show it. That cool Easter egg. I think this is great. I'm looking forward to other versions. I think this color is a little bit bland. I would love to see that kind of tan Aztek color, to be honest. But maybe we'll see that soon. But I think this thing's such a creative idea. And I hope there's more, like, you know, ugly cars that get Hot Wheels love. That sentence is terrible. In the future. All right, let's keep going. Brendon Vituski actually talked about this one, so I'll refer you to the RLC video if you really want to get into the details. I cannot wait to see this one get done. This is the Hirahato Merc, a epic, fantastic, just legendary hot rod, right? And it's getting done. Brendon went to town on this one, and even within the basics of what this is, was able to create a brake using the base of the model. And we'll see this one. He's really excited for the finished product to be unveiled soon, and I assume it will be soon. All things considered, this thing is awesome. And like I said, go to the RLC preview video with Brendon Viteski, and he talks that one through. 4 left. Another pre-production that hadn't been seen until now. We have I don't know what the final version is going to look like, but I assume maybe some sort of racing deco. I'll give you a second to figure out what it is if you want to. It's got a pretty recognizable silhouette. Obviously this red color, the wheels, even that blue base. This is full prototype form. Here's the base. It's the Racing Jag. And this thing's going to look so cool. Fraser is behind this one. I think I could have said he was behind this one without knowing, or without even knowing who designed it, or knowing not having the list, I think. But this is very much down his alley from what I've learned from the castings I've seen him produce. And like I said, I'll leave the list of where each casting came from, or who designed each casting. I got to get down there and we got to have a kind of a one-on-one with these designers. It'll be fun to do. Jag looks awesome. I'm looking forward to it finishing. The casting itself, it has the right stance. It has the right look from the front and the back. But it'll be really nice to see it detailed. But we get a sense of the casting at this point, and I think it's fantastic. All right. 2 more. 3 more. I mentioned at the beginning that, the Hot Wheels design team with Basic has been able to do like very realistic factory type cars, and then also just crazy fantasy car, not fantasy, but like kind of their own takes on real cars. And I think the next 2 will show really contrast that. Here's the Audi. We showed a pre-production of this one too. This is the 87 Audi Quattro. And, we saw the first Quattro, like that more kind of like scrunched version that Dima did. And now here's the second version, the 87. I think the more scrunched one was an 84. And look how clean this is. That 80s, I mean, it's the Audi logo, but done kind of in that fade to black kind of style of the 80s logo. On the side, it gets the front grille. Doesn't get the rear details, but at least as long as it gets the front, and it does. It looks great. 10 spokes look good. This thing is just so clean and just so wonderfully done. Huge fan of that one. There's not much I need to say about that, but other than notice when they take on and they make something like the Jag, like those trucks, when they go factory, they really do a nice job. And it also gives, not that the Hot Wheels designers need like a credibility test, but it also gives them credibility if you need it when they do something like this. The BMW wagon. I'll show you the base BMW M3 wagon, and you might say, and we showed this pre-production as well, the unpainted sample, BMW never did a 2-door. Well, they didn't have to. Well, they didn't. There's not a factory. This is kind of a fantasy version. There are customized 2-door BMW M3 wagons out there, and they served as some inspiration for the design team on this one. There was that talk I think I talked about in the last video. They wanted to take the E30 casting that June did and then have a little fun with it, just like June did with some of their castings. And so they turned his casting of the E30, the basic E30, into a wagon. So it still has that kind of wide stance. They did add a brake with the grille. They made the grille, I think, part of the window. And so now you have that, or maybe part of the base. I'm not entirely sure. Andres did the deco on this one. Very BMW. Looks so great in blue, especially with the white rims and the BMW trim. Modal on there as well. Bilstein, Goodyear. It's just rad. I'm looking for a factory color version. I love this racing one as well. It's a perfect debut. And the wheels, I really like the wheels. These E30s sometimes get these like low profile, kind of not like very straight kind of rims. And I think this works perfectly. I also love how the window just on one side is half open. a cool little touch. I think that thing is awesome. Probably of the cars I'm seeing, the Audi and the BMW are probably at the top of my list of the new castings. And I wanted to save this one for last because I don't know if I ever would have saved this one for last before, but these key fob designs that Hot Wheels is doing have really, you know, the first one was an unlicensed model, but now they have gotten permission from Porsche to do the 911 in an all-metal key fob style. Porsche 911 Carrera on the base, all metal, just Zamac, Porsche logo on one side, Hot Wheels on the other, and it's just clean and cool and just, I mean, does this, like, what art deco? I mean, all I can say about this is it's just spectacular. We've been, you know, there's been mixed opinions about the Arsham thing. I think in general, most people appreciate the Daniel Arsham project. I love it. And I love when art and Hot Wheels combine. What's cool about this one is this is a dollar car. This is going to be in the blisters. It's all metal. It's such a cool concept. And I think Hot Wheels was, for a while, I think there was a lot of thinking, like, do we really release something without wheels? Because we're all about speed and wheels. And you know, we don't want to see this all the time, but an execution like this, yeah, I hope you do it, because they just made a little piece of art, in my opinion. This thing's amazing. I mean, I don't think it's overstating. This is like one of the coolest Porsches they've ever done, Hot Wheels has ever done. And I can't, you know, I don't even want to compare it. Like, when we do the Lamley Awards for 24, where am I going to put this? I don't know if I will put it in the awards, but it's kind of its own category. And I just absolutely adore it, but probably for different reasons than I like everything else that I like from Hot Wheels and these other brands. It's just super unique, and I have to give the Hot Wheels team so much credit, and Porsche for letting them do it. This might be the most Porsche thing they've ever done. All right, I'll shut up, guys. This is a long video. You guys tell me what you think. There's the Porsche. You've seen all the other models. You've seen the other ones that didn't come to my place that you saw from the turntable shots I did at the convention. We'll get in front of these designers and let them talk more about these as we move throughout 2024. For now, let's get focused on the Lamley Awards. You guys tell me what you think about this stuff. Tell me what you're looking forward to the most. Bye.